Humanity's entry into the galactic war was as unexpected as it was transformative. For thousands of years, the galaxy had been dominated by two ancient civilizations, the Corthons, a species known for their rigid hierarchy and unparalleled engineering, and the Vrezins, masters of biological sciences and adaptive warfare. These two empires had fought each other for centuries, their battles spanning entire star systems, with no end in sight. Their war was a grim dance of attrition, a stalemate that drained resources and claimed countless lives. Humanity, by comparison, was a fledgling species, new to the stars and largely ignored by the galactic powers. That all changed in a single day. It began with a human exploration ship, the Odyssey, venturing into what humanity believed to be unclaimed space. The crew was mapping potential sites for colonization when they unknowingly entered a contested system. The Corthons and Vrezins, locked in yet another skirmish, mistook the human vessel for a new type of enemy weapon. Without warning, both sides fired. The Odyssey was destroyed within seconds, its distress signal barely reaching Earth. The loss of the Odyssey was a turning point for humanity. Until that moment, the species had been cautious, focusing on expanding slowly and avoiding conflict. But the unprovoked attack ignited a fire within them. This was not a conflict humanity had sought, but it was one they would not flee from. On Earth, the unified governments of the planet convened an emergency session. Within hours, they decided to respond. Humanity's message was clear: they would not be victims. Earth's brightest minds were mobilized. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists worked around the clock. The Haze Drive, humanity's breakthrough faster-than-light travel technology, was adapted for war. Prototypes of advanced weaponry that had been deemed too experimental were rushed into production. Artificial intelligence, once a controversial field, was now given free rein to assist in strategy and logistics. Human ingenuity, honed through centuries of survival on a harsh and changing planet, became their greatest weapon. When humanity's fleet launched, it was small compared to the armadas of the Corthons and Vrezins, yet every ship was a masterpiece of innovation. The designs were unconventional, blending sleek efficiency with raw firepower. More importantly, humanity's approach to war was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The ancient empires fought with rules and traditions, their strategies predictable and rigid. Humanity, by contrast, was adaptive, ruthless, and entirely unpredictable. The battle began in a remote system on the edge of Vrezin-controlled space. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace with precision, their ships' arrivals timed down to the millisecond. The Vrezin forces, caught off guard, scrambled to respond, but humanity's tactics were unlike anything their commanders had planned for. The human ships moved in erratic patterns, their AI-assisted targeting systems exploiting weaknesses in the Vrezin formations. Hypersonic missiles and energy weapons, designed to bypass traditional shields, tore through the alien ships. Within an hour, the Vrezin fleet was in disarray. Messages of panic and confusion spread across their communication networks. They had underestimated humanity, assuming the newcomers would be easy prey. Instead, they faced an enemy that struck with precision and purpose. The Vrezins, unable to regroup, retreated. The Corthons, monitoring the battle from a distance, believed they could use the opportunity to strike at both humanity and the Vrezins. They launched their own fleet, expecting to overwhelm the humans with superior numbers. But humanity had anticipated this. As the Corthon ships entered the system, they found themselves under attack from all sides. Humanity had used the retreating Vrezin ships as bait, drawing the Corthons into a trap. The second hour of the battle was marked by chaos. Corthon commanders, used to slow and methodical warfare, struggled to adapt to humanity's rapid strikes. Human ships exploited every vulnerability, using the terrain of the star system to their advantage. Asteroid fields became ambush points, and the gravity wells of planets were used to slingshot projectiles at devastating speeds. The Corthon fleet, despite its size, began to crumble. By the fourth hour, both the Corthons and the Vrezins realized they were facing a force unlike any other. Humanity's fleet, though smaller, operated with a level of coordination and adaptability that was unprecedented. AI systems predicted enemy movements, while human commanders made split-second decisions that turned the tide of battle. The ancient empires, bound by their traditions, could not keep up. In the fifth hour, humanity delivered its final blow. A combined strike on the command centers of both fleets left the Courthons and Resins leaderless. The remaining ships, demoralized and disorganized, surrendered. Messages of truce flooded human communication channels. The war, which had raged for centuries, was over. Humanity's victory was not just a military triumph, it was a statement. The galaxy had underestimated this young species, seeing them as insignificant newcomers. But in 5 hours, humanity had reshaped the balance of power. The Courthons and Resins, once bitter enemies, now faced a united humanity that demanded peace. The aftermath of the war was marked by reflection. Humanity did not seek to conquer or dominate. Instead, they used their newfound influence to broker a lasting peace. A galactic council was established, with humanity at its center, to mediate future conflicts. The stars, once a battlefield, became a place of collaboration. Humanity's rise also brought changes at home. On Earth and across their colonies, the war had unified a species long divided. Scientists continued to refine the haze drive, opening pathways to previously unreachable corners of the galaxy. Artists and storytellers captured the events of those 5 hours, immortalizing the courage and sacrifice of the men and women who fought. For humanity, the victory was bittersweet. They had proven their strength, but at great cost. The lives lost in those 5 hours were mourned, their sacrifice a reminder of the price of war. Yet, in their triumph, humanity found purpose. They had entered the galaxy as victims but emerged as leaders, determined to ensure that such a conflict would never happen again. As years passed, the impact of those 5 hours continued to ripple outward. Former enemies became allies, their once mighty fleets repurposed for exploration and humanitarian aid. Humanity, once overlooked, became a symbol of resilience and ingenuity. They had not sought war, but when it came to their doorstep, they faced it with everything they had, and in doing so, they changed the course of history forever. The galaxy had learned an important lesson that day. Humanity was not to be underestimated. What began as a tragedy ended as a triumph, not just for Earth, but for the galaxy as a whole. The stars now belonged to everyone, and humanity stood as both a protector and a guide, ensuring that peace endured where war had once reigned. Humanity's entry into the galactic stage was neither planned nor gradual. It came abruptly, born out of a crisis that no one on Earth could have imagined. For centuries, humanity had looked to the stars with curiosity, sending out probes and telescopes, dreaming of distant planets and alien civilizations. But when contact was finally made, it was not with words or peaceful overtures. It was with fire. The galaxy had been at war for hundreds of years. Two dominant factions, the Courthons and the Resins, had been locked in a stalemate, their massive fleets battling over contested systems. These were ancient civilizations, their histories stretching back tens of thousands of years. They had mastered the art of war, developing weapons and strategies that were incomprehensible to outsiders. Yet, despite their power, their war had ground to a bitter stalemate, with no end in sight. Humanity, meanwhile, had only just discovered faster-than-light travel. The Hayes Drive, named after its inventor, Dr. Miriam Hayes, was a revolutionary breakthrough that allowed humans to fold space and travel vast distances in moments. The first human colonies beyond the solar system were still in their infancy, fragile outposts on the edge of known space. Earth itself was recovering from centuries of environmental degradation, political instability, and resource scarcity. Humanity was united, but it was a unity born of necessity rather than choice. The event that drew humanity into the war began with the exploration vessel Odyssey. The ship was on a routine mission to survey a nearby star system when it stumbled into a Corthan resin battlefield. Neither side recognized the Odyssey as anything but an enemy scout, and they opened fire without hesitation. The ship's distress signal barely reached Earth before it was destroyed, its crew of 87 lost. The destruction of the Odyssey shocked humanity. This was their first encounter with intelligent alien life, and it had ended in violence. The incident was seen not just as a tragedy but as an attack on all of humanity. For the first time in decades, Earth's fractured nations came together. Scientists, engineers, and military experts pooled their knowledge, working tirelessly to understand the technology used by the alien factions and develop defenses. Humanity was determined not to be caught unprepared again. In just a few short years, humanity transformed itself. The haze drive was adapted for military use, allowing ships to maneuver in ways that alien tacticians had never considered. Artificial intelligence, long restricted due to ethical concerns, was deployed to analyze alien tactics and predict their movements. New weapons were developed, combining human ingenuity with insights gained from studying alien technology salvaged from the wreckage of the Odyssey. When humanity entered the war, it did so not as a hesitant newcomer but as a force to be reckoned with. The fleet that launched from Earth was small but precise, each ship designed for a specific purpose. The humans had no interest in drawn-out battles. Their strategy was simple: hit hard, hit fast, and leave nothing to chance. The first target was a Corthan fleet stationed near a contested system. The human ships emerged from hyperspace with startling precision, their movements coordinated by AI systems that reacted faster than any organic mind. They struck without warning, using weapons that bypassed the Corthan's shields and tore through their hulls. In less than an hour, the fleet was destroyed. The Vresins, observing from a distance, believed this was a fluke. They underestimated humanity, assuming that such precision could not be repeated. They were wrong. Within the next 2 hours, humanity's fleet struck again, this time targeting a resin supply convoy. The attack was surgical, crippling the Vresins' ability to resupply their forces in the region. By the 4th hour, both the Corthans and the Vresins realized they were facing a new kind of enemy. Humanity's tactics were unlike anything they had seen before. The humans did not fight for territory or resources. They fought to end the conflict quickly and decisively. Their ships moved unpredictably, exploiting weaknesses that alien strategists had never considered. Their weapons were devastatingly effective, bypassing the defenses that the Corthans and Vresins had relied on for centuries. In the 5th hour, humanity delivered its final blow. A combined Corthan-Vresin fleet, hastily assembled to counter the new threat, was ambushed near a gas giant. The human fleet used the planet's gravity to slingshot their ships into position, striking from multiple angles at once. The battle was over in minutes. The alien fleet was annihilated, its remnants scattering into the void. The war, which had raged for centuries, ended that day. The Corthans and the Vresins, their fleets in ruins and their will to fight shattered, sued for peace. Humanity, having proven its strength, did not demand conquest or tribute. Instead, they called for an end to hostilities and the establishment of a galactic council to prevent future wars. The victory had come at a cost. Many human lives were lost, and the scars of the war would linger for generations. But humanity had shown that it could not be ignored. In just 5 hours, they had changed the course of galactic history. The stars would never look at Earth the same way again. The day humanity joined the war was not one anyone had anticipated. The galaxy was already embroiled in chaos, a vast conflict raging between ancient civilizations that had existed for millennia. These species, with their towering ships and advanced technologies, had been locked in combat for centuries. Their wars were calculated, fought with strategies refined over generations. For them, war was a prolonged affair, each battle a small part of a much larger chessboard. But humanity, having just achieved the ability to travel between stars, had been an outsider to this chaos, until now. The conflict began as a misunderstanding. A single human exploration ship, the Odyssey, had stumbled into a contested sector of space. The alien species involved, known as the Corthons and the Resins, both viewed the arrival of an unknown species as a threat. Neither side sought to understand humanity's intentions. They simply opened fire. The Odyssey barely escaped, its distress signal reaching Earth just as its hull disintegrated. Humanity had been cautious in its approach to space exploration. After all, the vastness of the galaxy was daunting, and Earth was a mere speck in its vast expanse. Yet, the unprovoked attack on the Odyssey ignited a fury that no alien species could have anticipated. For humanity, this was not just an act of aggression, it was a challenge. The response was swift. In just 3 weeks, Earth had mobilized every resource it had. The United Nations, for the first time in centuries, acted as one. Scientists, engineers, and military strategists worked around the clock. Prototypes that had been years from completion were rushed into production. The greatest minds of humanity collaborated, blending ingenuity with desperation. Humanity's entry into the war was both unexpected and unorthodox. The Corthons and the Resins had grown accustomed to prolonged campaigns, where battles were fought over decades and victories were incremental. They could not have foreseen what happened next. Humanity's fleet, while small, was a marvel of efficiency. Ships were armed with weapons that were both devastating and precise. The designs were unconventional, breaking every rule of galactic warfare. But what truly set humanity apart was its approach to strategy. Unlike the alien species, humanity did not see war as a ritual or a game of patience. It was a matter of survival. Every decision was made with one goal in mind: end the conflict as quickly as possible. The fleets did not spread out. They concentrated their power. Instead of targeting ships, they targeted supply lines. Instead of engaging in drawn-out battles, they used overwhelming force to crush key positions. The pivotal moment came 5 hours after humanity launched its offensive. The Corthons and the Resins, accustomed to skirmishes that lasted days, were caught completely off guard. Humanity's ships struck with precision, destroying critical infrastructure and disabling command centers. They used tactics that no alien strategist had ever considered. AI-driven drones, programmed with algorithms designed by Earth's brightest minds, swarmed enemy fleets, exploiting weaknesses in their formations. Hypersonic missiles, undetectable by alien sensors, obliterated key installations. But it wasn't just the technology that tipped the scales. It was the adaptability of human crews, their ability to think creatively under pressure. Alien generals, bound by centuries of tradition, struggled to predict humanity's next move. In the chaos, entire fleets were incapacitated, their commanders unable to respond to the rapid shifts in battle. By the end of the 5th hour, the war was effectively over. The Corthons, their primary fleet in ruins, sent a desperate plea for negotiations. The Resins, realizing they were equally outmatched, followed suit. For the first time in centuries, the two rival species agreed on something. Humanity was a force they could not contend with. The peace summit that followed was held aboard one of humanity's ships, a calculated move to assert dominance. Representatives from the Corthons and the Resins arrived, still reeling from their defeat. The humans, however, showed no arrogance. Their delegation, led by diplomats rather than military leaders, made it clear that they sought peace, not conquest. In the weeks that followed, treaties were signed, borders were redrawn, and hostilities ceased. Humanity's decisive victory had not just ended a war, it had redefined the balance of power in the galaxy. The ancient species, once dismissive of this newcomer, now looked upon humanity with a mix of respect and caution. For humanity, the victory was a sobering reminder of its own potential. The war had shown what could be achieved when united by a common cause, but it had also revealed the cost of such power. Millions of lives had been lost, and the scars of battle would linger for generations. As the fleets returned to Earth, the planet stood as a symbol of both hope and caution. Humanity had proven its strength, but with that strength came responsibility. The galaxy, vast and unpredictable, had been introduced to a new player, and while the war had lasted only 5 hours, its impact would echo for centuries. In the end, humanity's victory was not just a triumph of technology or strategy, it was a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of a species that refused to be underestimated, and as the stars once again grew quiet, the galaxy watched, waiting to see what humanity would do next.